Did it? Okay, it says it's recording. All right, guys. Hi, happy Monday. Welcome to our last Team Zoom of September. That's mind-boggling in itself. I want to tell you guys really quickly, for those of you that maybe haven't seen it yet, because I just posted it like 15 minutes ago. If you remember, like a few months ago, I tried to do a thing with that Sign Up Genius where you could sign up and we could do one-on-ones, and Sign Up Genius is a literal nightmare. But through a lot of research I've been doing, I found a thing called Calendly. And basically, I just sent out the email. I also put it in the chats. My intention is that I would get to have 20 minutes one-on-one with everybody at least once a month. I know Lisa Cook has already gotten on there. She and I have been doing one-on-ones kind of on the regular. So she already got on there. She meets with me every Tuesday night at 7:30. If you feel like you want to meet every Wednesday night at whatever time or whatever, let me know. I have opened hours on Monday through Thursday that I'm happy to sit down and Zoom with you and go over like what's going on, what's working, what's not working, what idea do you have, what is the struggle. I just feel like the team Zooms are good and they're great and I love them, but I also feel like one-on-ones are very important. I know, for example, one time on a one-on-one, we just talked about some ideas that Lisa had. One time on a one-on-one, we literally went through step by step by step of how to do Chat GPT. So it's your 20 minutes with me. We'll do whatever the heck you think suits you in that moment. But I think it's really important that we get to spend a little bit more time together. So thankfully, I found this little website that is free and it does a calendar. So feel free to hop on there, pick a time. And like I said, if you want to pick a repetitive time, I would try to do it now. I will on occasion obviously have something that comes up in life where I have to change something. But pretty sure the chunks that I picked for now are going to be good. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing I wanted to talk about is going to be kind of part two of this particular Zoom. But so you guys all know we have the bingo cards that we're using and that I've gotten really good feedback on. They're kicking my butt just as much as they're probably kicking your guys's. I will say, I think it was Saturday. I wanted to put together a reel and I wanted it to be clips of me talking about sample packs. And so I went into my archive stories on Instagram and I started September 1st. From September 1st through Saturday, I was able to find 5 clips of my face and my voice talking about a sample pack. And then I was like, for the template that I had picked, I think I needed 7. So I was like, oh, let me see. I'm going to go back to August and get some from August. From August 1st to August 31, not a single clip of my face and my voice talking about a sample pack. I had sample links put out there. I had Lavelle videos with links put out there, but I had not had my face and my voice talking about samples. So that is coming from a girl who would have told you back in August that I was doing the do. I wasn't, apparently. So hopefully these bingo cards have changed things for you as much as they've changed things for me. And coming out of what we're going to talk about today, this 4-2-1 system, I'm going to, and I don't have it done yet, so you can ask questions, but I won't have answers. I'm going to take the 4-2-1 system and I'm going to plug it into bingo cards for October. So, and I'm doing it selfishly. Like, yes, yes, I want you guys to do them with me, and I do hope it's helping you, but it's helping me. So even if all the work goes into it and it only ends up being me doing the bingo cards, I'm fine with it. But I'm going to take this system and put that in the bingo cards to try to make our social media activity even better. So with that said, what is the 4-2-1? This is a social media strategy that I actually learned from Jessie Lee Ward, RIP. And she talked about it in the boot camp that I did with her. But I have since gone back and found a lot of older recordings where she really went into detail about it. And so basically what it is, it's a percentage or a ratio of how often you talk about your business versus how often you grow your audience. And I am not saying this to brag by any means at all, because I didn't do it myself. And it's literally, it's happening. And I honestly don't know what to do about it fully. But because I started implementing the things that she taught, my Facebook following, I say that loosely because it's not like they're friends, it's just followers, right? It has now gone from 2,000 to 31,000. And I think last week when I told you guys this, it was at like 26,000 or something. So the finding the people, the attention, the finding your, who your people are, that is definitely working for me. And I will tell you that is coming from my reels, and it's coming from my reels where I talk about my niche, which my niche is gardening. So before we dive into 421, I want you to take a sheet of paper and a pen or whatever in your head, whatever you want to do. I want you to think of 3 things that you love. It could be a hobby. It could be a place. It could be an activity. It could be, well, let's just, so hobby wise. So obviously, Sonia, I always pick on you. It could be your Harley. It could be your sister's gardening. It could be maybe you're a crafter, maybe you're a scrapbooker, maybe you're a canner, like canning, like canning food. Is that called a canner? I guess that's, I don't know what they're called. Maybe you like honeybees. Maybe you are into saving the monarchs. Maybe you are into a particular cardio class that you like at the Y. Maybe you are into running. Maybe you're into walking. Maybe you're into, I don't know. Like there's a million things people can be into, but I want you to pick 3. Like just pick 3 off the top of your head. So obviously mine would be gardening. And then right now, and I want you, I'm sorry, I should have said, I want this to be 3 things you're into right now. So if you say to me, I am a water skier, but we're coming into fall and winter, cool, what are you into now? Is what I'm, So and some people will be able to do their stuff year round. Like I know I can do my gardening stuff year round because it transitions into house plants and it transitions into planning the garden for the future. But there are certain things that maybe are only seasonal. So like if, so anyway, pick 3 things, jot them down. If you would like, I would love for you to share them in the chat because I would love to be able to pick some of these things to talk about in more in detail. I'm also thinking of you, Sonia. You're into charity work with the food bank, right? I know. So you put traveling, Harley's, traveling, and dogs. Okay, I love it. I do love to travel. It was funny. I did that question last week. Are you a homebody or are you a jet setter? And everyone was like 50-50. And I don't know how many of you have done it yet, but on our bingo card today, it says to do like an unpopular opinion or kind of like a controversial but yet funny post to get people talking. And so I just had a brain fart this morning where I was like, oh, everyone talks about that Ted Lasso show and I've never seen it. So I just basically said, hi, I've never seen it. Should I? Huh? Apparently I should. I've not had a single person say no. Everyone is like, it's life changing. So now I feel like this winter I'm going to have to watch this show. Charlotte says working out, Grand Sugars, and travel, walking, crafting, and Georgia Bulldogs, traveling, razor riding, and remodeling chaos. You are literally living the remodeling chaos right now. Okay, so from those 3, I want you to pick the number 1 thing that is the easiest for you to talk about. That if I said to you right now, is there something in your phone? Do you have a picture or a video related to one of these 3? What is the thing that you have the most of on your phone right now? Like I could tell you mine would be gardening, my nephews, and probably traveling. And I do have like tons of football stuff right now for my nephews, but I bet if you go to my camera roll, 30% would be my nephews and 70% would be garden related. Harley's and friends, travel. Yeah, you have all your pics of traveling. That's right. Yeah, you just got back from an amazing trip. I'm a little jealous. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you that is because when I say 421, the 4 is this stuff right here. The 4 is your working out, it's your Harleys, it's your Georgia Bulldogs, it's your traveling, it's your razor ride. That's the 4. Okay. So there are 7 days in a week. And if you look at my formula, it's 421. That adds up to 7, right? So let's pretend you're doing 1 story a week, 1 Facebook, 1 social media post a week, and 1 reel, not a week. I said that wrong. Yeah. No, I did say that right. So you're doing 1 a day, right? 1 reel a day, 1 Facebook post a day, 1 story a day. 4 of those are going to be about this stuff, right? So Monday, you might talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, like how they performed on Saturday. Tuesday, you might share a funny meme about the Georgia Bulldogs. Friday, you might share some sort of article about one of the Georgia Bulldogs and how awesome of a person they are even off of the field, right? Like there's all kinds of things about one topic that you love, that you're into, that you could share in lots of different ways. And so you can mix it up. So if on Monday you talked about them on a post, maybe in your stories, you ask about what was your crafting. Maybe you share a craft in your stories, right? So 4 days a week, 4 times a week, you're going to be talking about these things that are important to you that have nothing to do with your business. Absolutely nothing to do with your business. 2 times a week, you're going to allude to having a business that also might still wrap into some of these things. So for example, I'm going to just stick with the Georgia Bulldogs, Lisa. She could talk about how she's packing her Thrive, or how she's packing, she's packing her bags, getting ready to travel to go see the Georgia Bulldogs. And she could show pictures of her sweatshirt with her Thrive and the suitcase together, right? So she's alluding to it. She's not shouting it from the rooftops, but she's alluding to it. Or she could talk about how the game was so stressful she couldn't get any sleep without, thank God for her Thrive to help her get to sleep at night. And maybe she could have a picture of her on Georgia Bulldogs, whatever, and her rest gel. So she's alluding to her business, right? She's giving it props and she's alluding to it, but it's still all about her Georgia Bulldogs. It's still about her thing. And then 1 day a week, you're all about your business, right? You might go live to talk about your product. You might interview another Thriver. You might put out your own personal promotion. You might talk about how this business and this product has literally changed your life. So the reason that the 421 is so important, and if you guys think back to when you first became Thrivers, and we were all like Thrive crazy, and it's all we talked about, and no matter where we went, like we got to the point where people were avoiding us, or people were talking about how like she's part of a cult, right? How many of you had people that thought you were like part of a cult because all you talked about is Thrive, right? It's a pyramid scheme, right? She's in this, that's all she does. Is because that's really how people start to feel when all you do is talk about your business. And so when you're in this circle, this little bubble that you've got created in life or in social media, if all you're doing is talking about your business, your bubble is not going to grow. If anything, your bubble is going to shrink a little bit, right? Because some people are going to be like, mute. I've heard enough about her rest gel. Like, oh my God, she has nothing else to talk about anymore except her Thrive. So you will start to get a smaller circle. Whereas when you spend the 421 and you're spending way more time talking about who you are, what lights your fire, actually teaching people about things that light your fire. So like it felt really weird to me the first few times that I made reels or posts about gardening that I taught something, because I don't consider myself to be a gardening expert. I just love it and have fun. But I also take for granted that the things that I know other people don't. I did a very short, sweet, quick video about saving seeds from a Cosmo plant. And like you guys, it's literally like, okay, the Cosmo bloomed, it's now done. Here are the seeds, and you just pop it off. Like it was simple. And I couldn't believe the comments and the messages I got. Like, oh, I never knew you could do that. I didn't know what that was. I always threw that away. Like you can't forget that even though you may not be a specialist or an expert or whatever, you do hold information that can help other people, right? Like, yeah, I am by no means, and you can ask Tom, I am by no means a great cook or a chef, or it's not my jam. Like, I love that people love cooking. I like one pot wonders because I don't like to have to clean a lot of stuff, and and I don't really like to measure. I love things that you can put a dash of this and a dash of that in. And so yesterday I shared a recipe and I just said, hey, I'm going to make this today. I didn't say I made it. I didn't say if it was good. I'm going to make this today. If you're looking for a recipe, here's what I'm trying today. Let me know if you make it. And lo and behold, somebody commented last night and said, we made it, but we used chicken instead because we didn't have any pork. I was like, oh my gosh. So you forget that people really are looking for information. They really are looking for stuff like that. I know I don't. Nobody gets on their social media and says, oh my gosh, I wonder what person do I know that just got a free car this month and who is traveling for free? Ain't nobody searching for that, right? They're just not. And if they are, they're probably doing it so they can create some sort of anti-MLM campaign against you, right? They're not doing it because they're happy for you. Now, as an upline, you might look for something like that, but the average person is not getting on Facebook or going through reels because of that. So what I want to do, and like I said, it's going to take some math and some time, but I want to incorporate the 421 into the bingo system so that in your, because you have to remember too, people that are watching your reels may only watch your reels. People watching your stories are probably watching lots of stuff, and people watching your post may only be watching your post. So I want to set up our bingo card so that excuse me, so that your social media posts are following the 421, and your reels are following the 421, and your stories are following the 421. Because that way, when people are following you and they do find you, they get to see lots of the four. They get to learn a lot about you, because that is where they're going to know, like, and trust you. I have more people talking to me now because I taught them something about um, when to cut hydrangeas to get the most vase life. But now they're talking to me on a consistent basis because I taught them something that was true, that had no, I didn't make any money off of them, right? I didn't share that tip and make $1,000. I just shared something I knew. And so the more you talk about that, like Sonia, you are a female Harley rider. You have learned so much about actually fitting the bike to the body, making sure you have the bike for the kind of riding you'd like to do. You've learned so much about leaning on the community when it comes to needing repairs. And like, you've learned that stuff. And so somebody new, or maybe somebody who's even watching and being like, man, I wish I had the guts to do that, but I don't know anything about a bike. I don't know how to fit a bike. If you came to me right now and said, Tammy, you want $1,000,000 and the first thing you're buying is a Harley, I'd be like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what, I mean, can I get one with 3 wheels so I don't tip over? Like, I have no idea. But you know that kind of stuff. You could literally be talking about that 4 times a week. You could be talking about the different paint colors. You could be talking about how much fun / stressful it was when you had to have that one part repainted because remember, the paint didn't match or wasn't available or something like that anymore. It was like a whole thing. I know that might seem like it only happened to you, but for every you that's out there, there's 1,000 more that are just like you. We forget that. We forget that, yes, we're special, but yet we're not. There's a lot of people like us that want to know that stuff. So there's something somewhere that you're doing on a day, like, so I think of Charlotte, this whole trip to Hawaii, that had to take some navigation right now because there was a natural disaster. Hopping on a plane to Hawaii isn't something that people just kind of do. I mean, there are probably some people who just do it, but that probably took time and planning. And I'm going to guess that maybe you had to decide, we have this many days, where are we going to spend it? And maybe you found fabulous restaurants that were better than what, maybe they're a hole in a wall that no one talks about them on the internet. So you found that and you could share that. Maybe you found a hiking trail that was listed easy, but it turned out to be really challenging. And you could talk about that. Like, you could literally give people information that you may not think they're looking for, and they may not be looking for it today, but thanks to the world of the internet, the keywords, the words that come out of your mouth and the words that you type, hashtags or not, the world is going to find out about that. Right? Like I have a video that I made months ago about adding water features to your garden, and it did well, in the scheme of things. And people ask me lots of questions about, where'd you get that solar powered fountain from, blah 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 blah. Well, now that it's like late in the summer heading into fall, all of a sudden that video is taking off again. But the only question I keep getting asked over and over is, how do I deal with that and not have mosquitoes? So somebody somewhere has talked about or searched getting rid of mosquitoes, or what kind of water traps are attractive to mosquitoes. And because of that, for whatever reason, that video is getting reshared all over again. So it's the keyword. So it's what you talk about. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to necessarily be timely. So with that said, if you are like, well, I'm screwed because the only thing I like to do is in the summer, don't not do this because of that. Because I'll go back to water skiing. If your hobby is water skiing, and the certain types of skis to wear for a certain type of, whether it's a calm lake or a choppy lake, or if you're in the ocean, I don't do people water ski in the ocean. I only know it in the lake. I don't know. Maybe a certain brand, maybe a certain wetsuit that's best when the water gets cold. Like, you might know all these things, and you could still be making videos about that. You could still be making posts and comments about that, because people will eventually find it. They may just not find it as quickly. So that's why I say to start with something that's happening now, or that has just happened, because it's a little more recent and you're going to get a little more play with that. Like Lindsay's doing the razor riding, like that's very seasonal. I know people do it year round, but I know, like, now it's a really big thing in a lot of the country because people have put their boats away. So now they've got this fun thing to do. So she could be talking about the different places they go, the different ways, like, maybe some places they stay in a camper, maybe some places they tent, maybe some places they do a hotel. Maybe there's particular meals that she knows are great for when they're razor riding because they're easy to pack in a cooler and prep at a campsite. Like there's all kinds of stuff that you could be sharing. And probably most of the time you're looking at your phone, you're like, oh, how am I going to talk about Thrive today? And you don't need to be talking about Thrive today. You need to be doing the 4-2-1. And then, like I said, you're going to have those moments where you're going to subtly, maybe you have on, I'm wearing my Tacky Jacks t-shirt today, but maybe you have on a Thrive t-shirt. That's subtle. That could be one of your twos, right? Maybe you have a picture of your Thrive community at dinner, or like we had our little kumbaya circle the other night for Sandra's going away party. Like that picture, that's alluding to your community and your business and your opportunity, but the whole post could be about how much these people mean to you or how special that night was. So again, we're not talking about Thrive or the business opportunity, but we're sharing who we are and what we're about. So again, the 4-2-1 is just something for you to keep in mind for right now. Like I will go through and do like a social media audit every now and then while I'll go to my page. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but on Facebook, you can go to, I don't know exactly where it's at, but you can say view as, and you can view it as an outsider looking in. And so view it that way and scroll through and see. Cause so the reason that's important is like, if you have public posts and non-public posts, or maybe you have it that people can tag you in something, but it's not showing up on your timeline, or, that kind of thing. Or maybe you have it that people tag you and it's showing up on your timeline. So when you go to your timeline and you start realizing you got tagged in 82 Thrive posts last week, you want to hide those things off your profile, because what's going to happen, Sonia's going to share that reel about the best way to decide how to fit yourself to the bike, or how to fit the bike to you. And somebody's going to be like, oh man, this girl's my jam. I want to see what else she can teach me about my Harley. And they go to your page. And then there's that Harley post or that Harley reel, but then there's 12 things about Thrive, and they're like scrolling. They're like, oh, maybe that wasn't really her video. Maybe that was somebody else's, and they pop back out. Right. So you got to do it's balance and checks. And I'm this way. When I find someone on the internet and I'm like, oh, wow, they're an amazing designer, or, oh, wow, they're an amazing gardener. When I go to their page, I just start scrolling. I want to see what else they can teach me or show, or like, what else have they made, or what, like, I want to see. And if I get on there and there's like a random one or twosie, I keep scrolling. I mean, it's their Facebook. They can share what they want, right? So I'll keep scrolling. But if I get on there and I scroll and I scroll and I scroll and I'm like, well, there's literally nothing else on their page. I'm a week later and there's nothing on here about gardening or whatever, then I just get back off. Like, but if I get on there and I'm scrolling, I'm finding like, oh, that's really good, or oh, that's really fun, or oh, I didn't know that, I click follow. Like, and that's how it works. That's why, as much as we all want to fight this niche idea, if you want to succeed and you want to start adding people to your network, and that's what we do, right? We're in network marketing. We add people to our network so we can expose them to our products and services. If you want to add people, you have to pick something. And I want to encourage you to pick it and stick it. Pick it and stick it. Give yourself 6 solid months. And this is coming from the girl who's on, I think, her 10th week. And some days I'm like, I can't talk anymore about gardening to anybody. But I do because I'm sticking it, right? I picked it and I'm sticking to it. And I'm going to go through the ebbs and flows of the season. I'm going to be using dried flowers in my Christmas tree, right? Like I'm going to be doing this for 6 solid months, but it's already worked. It's already exposed me to a much, like when I used to, on the 5-4-3-2-1 every day, I used to get to that too. And I would go into Facebook and I would find 2 people to friend request. You guys, I think I got 852 followers yesterday from reels. Now, followers are not the same as friends. So this is the learning curve that I'm now at. Now I'm going through my followers list and I'm having to clam method them, comment, like, add, message. And I would say for every person that I'm actually able to comment, like, add, message, there's 5 where they're like, their Facebook is locked up tight. You can't see any pictures. You can't leave any comment, like nothing. So that's why it's a numbers game. The more people you can add, the more you have a chance of finding a real life human that you can communicate with. And I will tell you that, so last night was the Jennifer's aunt, and I put it in our chats. Jennifer's aunt has her Sunday night Zoom that she does. And last night she had Sarah Sawyer on there. And I have seen Sarah before, and I know she's in the Courtney Glazer line. And I will be honest, I had just assumed that she was, I don't know, better than me, smarter than me, richer than me. I don't know. I had done the comparison thing and I was like, I don't like her. She's perfect, whatever. She's amazing. She's not better than any of us. She's not richer than any of us. She's not smarter than any of us. She's just working harder than some of us. And she is, because I finally said to her, because she does reels a lot. So I asked her, I was like, what do you do? Like, you're making a reel and you're making this reel about a healthy turkey chili, and somebody comments, now what? Like, now what do I do? And so she's the one that said, so the clam is also sometimes known as the 3-2-1, where you comment on 3 pictures, like, that kind of thing. And it's funny because I think to do that on my current group of people, but I've never thought to do that on a stranger before. So what's going to happen is you make these reels and you make these posts and people start to follow you because you become their source of, like, I think it's Samantha, like she's the team mom, right? So she could literally be talking about the easiest team snacks, where she got the team t-shirt, like all these things. People could start thinking of her as the resource, and they're going to start commenting on that. So what you want to do from that point is go to their page and you want to comment on things and like things, so that basically in their notification, Tammy Battaglia, like, well, wait, oh, that's that girl I commented on. She's talking to me. You want them to be like, oh, she's a real human. Because how many of you make a post and somebody comments and you're like, are they real? Right? Especially the men, like, and they're those are the worst scams. Like, right away, because it's a paragraph this big, it starts with flowers and hearts, and they love what you post, and they don't want to bother you, but like, those are cheesy. But there are going to be some where they're like, I don't know, like, you just don't know, like, is this really a person? And so that's a good way to weed that out for yourself, but also for them, because maybe they commented on my reel about a house plant, but they're like, is that really her? Or, like, now they know I'm real. Now they know we can actually connect. So it's really all about casting this big giant net. And the best way to find your people is to talk about you, what you love, what you know, what you care about, what you could teach about, what you want to learn about. You guys, I'm in gardening groups and I make it a point to ask questions. A, because I want to know, but B, because people love to share what they know. Right. I learned when I joined the garden club, human to human contact, like, wow, there's a wealth of knowledge in that room with these ladies that I get to spend time with once a month. It's the same thing on the Facebook groups that you're in. So, like, for instance, the razor riding with Lindsay, I would encourage you to not just be part of a razor riding group, but find a Texas razor riding group, or find a, I forget, no, where do you live? I forget. Anyway, Sanger, like, literally try to niche it down so that you can really make sure you're talking to local people. Because I used to belong to these garden. I mean, you can go, there's a million garden groups on the FB, but I finally found a Greater Cincinnati gardening group. These people are real. They talk about the gardening centers around us. They talk about the nature centers around us. Now we're at the point in time where gardeners are like, I'm digging up daylilies, who wants them? And you can literally message and get their address. So these are like real local people. And I think that's a really good place to start. So like when somebody's like, oh, I'm in a mom's group. Are you in again, I'll use me. Are you in a Ohio moms group? Are you in a Cincinnati moms group? Are you in a Lebanon, Ohio moms group? Like, really be specific about the groups you're in, because then you're going to have a better chance of them being real people. Whereas if you're just in, if I was just in Gardeners of the World, well, half the posts you can't read because they have to be translated. Trust me, I was in a group like that. There was a ton of people from other countries, which was amazing, but they're in, it's their summer when it's my winter. And so everything was weird. So find local stuff as much as possible. And keep that in mind, because when you're doing your 4-2-1, if somebody finds you in a group, like, let's say you ask a question or you comment in a group, how many times have you clicked on someone's face because they commented on something in a group, right? People are doing it back to you. So if I ask a question, I asked this guy, Al, a question today. Al seems like the most amazing gardener ever based on what I see in this group. So I asked him a question today. If Al clicked on my face and went to my page, I want Al to know I'm really a gardener. Like, that's really me. Like, I'm not just in this group trying to milk people. I'm really a gardener. Like, I'm giving and I'm hoping to get. And then perhaps Al will stumble across my reel where I talked about using move gel because it helps me when I'm having to pull weeds and dig holes and all the things that a gardener has to do, right? But that's going to be a much more authentic connection than me hounding some stranger named Al in a garden group, right? So I know I kind of went into different directions here, but my point is you have got to lock down your niche. And if you're struggling with this, sign up for one of those one-on-one coaching or leadership chats with me. I don't want to call them a coaching session because that's weird. You're all leaders and we're just going to put our brains together. Damn, I'm going to have to rewatch this. Would you change your profile picture to match your cover photo? No, I would, but I have everything I've learned. Your profile picture has to match every app. So like your Facebook profile, your Instagram profile, your YouTube, your what everything needs to your TikTok, your Snapchat, it all needs to match because again, when somebody's searching you and they're not quite sure if it's you, if they so like maybe I found you on Instagram, but that was a fluke. And I want to see if you're on Facebook. If your picture doesn't match, I may not be a whole, like 100% sure. But if your picture matches, I'm going to know right away. That's her. That's the girl I want to be with. That's the girl I want to talk to. So I think your cover photo right now, my cover photo is literally just a background photo of pictures of it's like a picture of flowers because I'm a gardener, right? So I do think your cover photo is an opportunity for you to reiterate your niche. So that again, when somebody if someone were to click on a Tammy Battaglia and maybe my picture didn't match, but they saw it was flowers, and they would, oh, that might be her, right? So I do think it needs to portray something in your niche. But yeah, your profile picture should definitely match. But yeah, so pick your niche. Like just pick the one. I know that you guys, I love lots of stuff. I do. and it's not that you can't still share that every night. You will always see a football Friday post from me because that's my nephews and that's you're going to see that. But intermixed with that, you're going to see 421 from me. You're going to see a lot of gardening. And please remember when it comes to sharing your niche, you're going to share your highs, you're going to share your lows, you're going to educate, and you're going to ask for education, right? Like I'm not a gardening expert. So I, not only in my groups, but just even on my page, now that I have a lot of the gardening people following me, I can ask a garden question, right? Because I've now grown that group of people. So I know that the people following me are gardeners because they followed me from gardening videos. And you know what's really weird? And I know it has to be the algorithm or something. I don't know, but and I'm sure it's this 421 in action, but like I will do just randomly, I'll do a Thrive. Like I did a Pink Pro reel and like 2,000 people saw it. Now I didn't get 2,000 customers or 2,000 orders, but 2,000 people saw it. And they only saw it because it was mixed in those garden reels. I'm assuming, right? Like why else would they have paid attention to my reel? So it is a numbers game. And I know we've said it before, and that's why we say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I'm telling you, if you pick your niche and you dive in, put your blinders on for 6 months, that'll be March of 2024. Between now and March of 2024, if you have your blinders on and you stay in that niche, you're still going to live your life. You're still going to have those random posts. You're still going to have that Christmas with your family, whatever post. Like you're going to have those things thrown in. But if you stick with your niche, you will build a group of your people, and your people want to hear what you have to say, right? Like the people I follow, I want to hear what they're talking about. I follow them for a reason. And so if every blue moon, this girl I follow, for like you guys have heard this, for every blue moon that this girl that I follow, because she's an amazing interior designer, every blue moon she'll talk about something else. She talked about this damn lip gloss. And what did I do? I ordered this lip gloss because I love everything she does. And I thought, well, I'm probably gonna love her lip gloss too then, right? And this isn't her lip gloss. It's just a lip gloss she liked. She had a link for it though, so I'm sure she got a kickback, but good for her. I was happy ordering from her link, knowing that she was going to maybe get a little kickback because she's taught me, she shared so much other stuff with me already and taught me things already that I didn't mind buying from her. So this is a long-term game, which I think is hard, right? Like I would love to tell you that out of these 31,000 people, I've got 300 new customers and we just hit 200K overnight and blah. That's not what this is about. This is a long-term game of taking those people and funneling them down. And we talked about that last week. We talked about like getting them in the funnel, really starting to share information with them and having conversations, because that's where they're going to start to trust you. And then bringing them all the way down into an actual customer. And I, for one, am so excited to see where my business goes. And I'm so excited to see how many true thrivers who I didn't have to twist their arm, I didn't have to throw a promo at them, I didn't have to beg them with credits. How many people are truly going to thrive because they're my people and they really want this product in their lives. That's what I'm excited for. So I don't know. I rambled and now we're past the lunch and grow. So we're all late for that. I'm sorry. I hope this helps. I'll let you know when the bingo cards are ready. Talk to you guys later. Bye.